Alright, you all, what's good? This is R-O-B-B in the place to be, aka Rob Diggy, on here for episode 11. And as you all can see, we are doing Snoop Doggy Dogg, one of the West Coast kings, I like to call him. And sometimes he's also referred to as probably, in my opinion, the most anticipated MC that ever came out of the West Coast or in hip hop period. And we're going to discuss some of those things in this episode. But first off, I want to give some shout outs to our fans, followers, supporters, listeners from all over the world. I'm so honored and so privileged to have this platform. I know I say it every week. I know it gets cliche, but I really do mean that, that having able to have a platform, been blessed to talk about hip hop and to meet so many genuine people along the way for this journey. And it's been great. And I'll save my shout outs for the end. But for this episode, I brought on a couple of special guests that you guys have not seen yet. Both of them I've talked about in previous episodes, and I'm going to introduce them both because they both deserve a royal introduction. So the first person that I'm going to bring on is Mr. Johnny TGV, otherwise known as Johnny the Good Villain. Johnny the Good Villain, how I met him was through another gentleman who is on the show today by the name of Nick motherfucking Gibbs. So we'll get to Nick Gibbs in a second. But the reason why I got to know Johnny, because Johnny has a song out there called Rapture with the appearance by Anita Baker. Now, if you guys are really close to me, know that Anita Baker is my favorite all-time R&B singer. So as soon as I heard that track, I was like, I gotta go meet this dude. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna pull it off, but I gotta go meet this dude. But it ended up so happening that Johnny knew Nick Gibbs, who I also already had a good relationship, and had been talking about Nick. And you guys, I will be honest with you, I live here in the Midwest. Nick Gibbs is the next huge star in the Midwest in hip hop. So he is up and coming, and I am so blessed to have both of them on the platform today on the Diggy A2 podcast, both Nick Gibbs and Mr. Johnny TGV. Gentlemen, what is going on? How are you this evening?
Hello.
Yo, what's good? How y'all doing tonight?
Yeah, man, we appreciate you, man. So glad to have you guys on, and you guys are now being listened to I think around about 25 countries around the world. So all of our listeners, followers, supporters have heard me talk about you guys in a highly fashion for the last, I don't know, man, maybe 6 weeks, and they finally get to see who you guys are. So I'm excited for them to know who you are and for you all to get your stories out. So, of course, we're going to be talking about Snoop Dogg, but in Diggy A2 fashion, every new artist has a rite of passage where they talk about when or how did they fall in love with hip hop. All right. So, Johnny, when did you fall in love with hip hop? When or how?
All right. So I can tell you that being an 80s baby, I actually didn't understand and grasp hip hop until, the later or the early 90s, rather, in the later 80s. But I'll say Ice Cube, Check Yourself. When I saw that, I was just like, yo, what is this? What am I hearing? What is this in my ears right now? And of course, the infamous Snoop Doggy Dogg. He was a big deal on, at that time as well. So how could you turn on your TV and not see that? So that would be my influence. Yeah.
That's what's up. Nick All right, sorry, Ma. I'm sorry, Ma. But I got to say Nick motherfucking Gibbs, because when I first saw Nick Gibbs perform online, this dude came out, and he's only the few rappers that come out with a suit. He's dressed nice as hell. He came out with a championship belt, and I was like, this guy is different. I got to find out who this dude is. So, Nick, same question, man. When or how did you fall in love with hip-hop? What is your story? What do you want fans to know about your relationship with hip-hop?
So it all started by finding my dad's NWA Straight Outta Compton CD in his front dresser. And I went in there and I found this CD and I was like, I don't know why this isn't in the car. So I snagged the NWA CD and listened to that. And ever since then, I've fallen in love with rap music. So West Coast is definitely my vibe. And, a lot like Johnny the Good Villain, Snoop Dogg was another big influence in my life too. So I'm honored to be on this show with you. So
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. And You know what's crazy about Snoop Dogg is my dad's favorite rapper too. So I'm dedicating this show to Pop. So Pop, when you see this, man, I love you. Thank you for introducing me to Snoop Dogg. So when I was a kid growing up, like, Snoop Dogg, has some really vulgar lyrics. I couldn't repeat the same lyrics, you know what I mean? Can't cuss in the car around your daddy and stuff, you know what I mean? So you kind of cussing under your breath a little bit, you know what I mean? Back in the day. But Snoop Dogg was Snoop Dogg he's hip hop. He's the pinnacle of hip hop. So we're going to get into that discussion. But first, I got to give you a little bit of background of Snoop Dogg and how he came to be who he was in the early beginnings. So his government name is Calvin Brodus Jr. He has won over 27 different awards and decorations, so I'm not going to go over all of them. But here is one of the most significant things that I did find out is Snoop Dogg has been nominated for 17 Grammy Awards and does not have a Grammy Award. How in the hell is that possible? How is that possible that one of the biggest stars in hip hop does not have a Grammy Award in his trophy case? So we got to do better, Grammy. We got to do better with that. But he has a bunch of other awards. So I'm going to run those down real quick. He has one American Music Award, one BET Award, one Billboard Award, one MTV Music Award, 2 Video Music Awards. He has 2 Soul Train Awards. He has 5 Source Magazine or Source Awards. And he was also awarded in 2016 the I Am Hip Hop Award for Lifetime Achievement. And what he also has is a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame as well, too. So Snoop Dogg has done it all. When we talk about a rapper that has transcended himself from, a kid from Compton or from Long Beach, to a superstar. He is that story, and there's not many others like him. His net worth, you guys, is $152 million as well, too. So Snoop Dogg is paid. He's earned his keep, and that is why we are talking about him right now. The 2 albums we're going to focus on for this session today is the 2 albums within the shift. Doggy Style, which came out in November of 1993. Which is, one of the biggest selling hip hop albums of all time, 11 million albums worldwide to date. And then the other one's going to be Murder Was a Case, which was actually a song on the original album, but they decided to make an EP off of it and they made a little small 18-minute movie of it. I watched it this past week. It's a little bit cheesy watching it now, but it was the shit back in the day. But that soundtrack dropped in October 1994. Some of the hits off of there was the Murder Was a Case remix, Natural Born Killers, which is a dope ass song with Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. What Would You Do by the Dog Pound, One More Day by the late great Nate Dogg, and Sam Snead, You Better Recognize, were some of the songs that I remember from that time. So that is our premise for our discussion, gentlemen. So thank you both for being on, spending time out of your busy schedules to talk about one of the most significant staples, or one of the significant personalities in hip-hop history. So I'm glad to have you guys on board, and I'm going to pass the mic over to Johnny the Good Villain first. So Johnny, you get the first question, my man. And the first question that I want to ask is, when we talk about Snoop Dogg in the era of the early 90s, what was his impact on hip-hop? So we talked about him coming from the West Coast, during that time it was the East versus West kind of thing, and here comes this kid from Long Beach, tall, lanky, skinny, and he kind of really just came out of nowhere. So what is your opinion about Snoop Dogg's impact on hip-hop in the early 90s?
Well, I can tell you straight up facts, all right? Snoop Dogg changed the culture. He changed the culture and the way we spoke to each other, all right? Now, if you remember, there was a record called The Shiznit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have to this day we still say, "Yo, did you see that play? It was the shiznit." Somebody might say something like that from time to time. I mean, he was one of those people that changed the verbal culture, kind of like E40 did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he had a huge impact on that, and also he brought G-Funk to the mainstream.
Yeah.
So before it was like an underground movement, and it was a big deal, on the West Coast, but the rest of the world was not familiar with it. We got a little taste of it with the Quranic, but it didn't go mainstream until, Doggy Style album.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. And a lot of people think that the success of the Chronic led to the further success of Doggy Style, which in some opinion could be true. Both of them are stellar albums. Both of them are superior albums in hip hop. But I don't know, man. Like, I kind of feel like Doggy Style is a little bit better. Like, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? So, Nick, what do you think about that? You know, the Chronic and Doggy Style, you know, both of them sound very similar, but do you think that there is a graduation step from the Chronic to Doggy Style? So, I mean, I hate to put you on the spot like that, but do you think there's a graduation step? Is it a step above? Are they equal? What is your opinion about that?
I feel like they both, because of their time frame, have their own specific impact, if that makes sense. So I think that Doggy Style has its own flavor with it, and I think it got projected a little bit stronger after, you know, the Chronic as well. I think they have their own major footprint in hip hop that will forever be cemented in hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Both of them have songs that'll never die. They have songs that, you know, even kids younger than me even know at least the hook of it, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's a tough one for me to decide. I'm glad you put me on the spot with that, but I think they both have their own significant impact. I honestly, I couldn't answer that honestly without taking one over the other. I think they both have their own level, you know? Yeah,
and that's a fair assessment. I mean, I think that, you know, both albums are both, first off, both albums are classic. So I'm not even going to even go down that road. They're both classic. I just think that Snoop, you know, with the buildup of Snoop Dogg, when you think about during that time, this is for you, Johnny, when you think about that time, when Snoop Dogg was coming out, you know, he did Deep Cover, and he did, you know, he did the Chronic album, and you know, he did Nothing But a G Thing, and all these things with Snoop. All the buildup was so like a mountain that you couldn't stop. You know what I mean? He was like a big boulder coming down Hip Hop Hill that no one could stop. And then when he came out, and I mean, everybody went and bought the album. I went out and bought the album. You know what I mean? I went out and bought it. My homeboys went out and bought it, and we were big in the East Coast during that time. You know what I mean? And here comes Snoop Dogg out of the left field, damn near, and dropped this magnificent album that is funky. It was different, and he brought lyricism. So let's talk about the lyricism real quick. So I'm gonna pass the mic back over to Nick on this one. So Nick, you as an entertainer, and I've seen your performances, you have the rapid pace, the quick tongue flow to you. But when it comes to Snoop Dogg's style of rap is the complete opposite of yours, is what I would say. So what do you think about Snoop's flow and his lyricism that he brought to his craft?
Wow. It's cool. Everything's cool. I mean, he could talk gangster, but everything is smooth with it. You know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, when he was with the Master P and kind of having like the pimp talk kind of swagger with it, it was like that even with his gangster attitude. Everything sounded cool, smooth, swagger.
Yeah.
You know, his delivery was smooth. His freestyles, like when I saw the A$AP Rocky freestyle with him on his podcast,
yeah,
you know, just the way that he could freestyle and make it sound like it's a hit. And also when he was like on Sway in the Morning, he was freestyling one of his old beats with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
And it sounded like that should have been put on wax right after
yeah.
it was. And that's what's so prolific about him. One thing I will do is like, Rob, for you on the hip hop, have you heard his demo in 1991 called Over the Counter?
Over the Counter, I've not heard that. I've heard a couple of his early musics with 213. So with him, Nate Dogg, and Warren G, we're kind of doing some things in the beginning, but I've not heard that demo. No, I have not. You got me there.
You said how he is smooth and like everything's slow with it. In that, he actually hits triplets and goes double time with it.
Oh, wow.
A little bit. He hits different styles with it. And his original demo, I mean, for me, it inspired me even more. I listened to it last night after, you know, I was like, okay, I need to really hone in because I'm a 90s kid. When Snoop Dogg came out, I wasn't even born, you know?
Yeah.
And so some things get left in the cracks there. And so I had to backtrack to it. And I after I Googled Snoop Dogg's first demo and I found it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It blew my mind how he's universal. He's just low key about it. I think the smooth swagger is his memorable, obviously.
Yeah.
And so if everybody listening right now, take time, listen to the Over the Counter, and you'll see a whole different Snoop Dogg. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we'll do. I'll make sure we put that in the description for the Over the Counter. I'm gonna go back and listen to it tonight as soon as this is over. As a historian, if someone brings something to me that I haven't heard, I feel I owe it to them to go out there and listen to it. So I will be doing that. So yeah, I mean, he has a distinct flow. He just was different. He really was different, and he came out in a different era. And when Johnny brought up the Shiznit, and when you think about the Shiznit, is one of my favorite Snoop Dogg songs, but he did not write the Shiznit. He freestyled the Shiznit the entire song, you guys. If you didn't know that, now you know now. So he didn't write it on paper. Dre dropped the beat. Snoop goes in the booth and does the Shiznit right there on the spot. Didn't write anything down. I'm like, wow, like what? Like how in the hell does he do that? You know what I mean? Like it's incredible. His penmanship, his ability to create, which goes to your point, Nick. His ability to create with words and to put them together, and the creativity that he had. He did Lottie Dottie, which is the throwback to Slick Rick's old song, like giving homage back to the old school. Like it's a masterful album. But one of the things I want to bring, and I'll pass the mic over to Johnny on this one. One of the things that Snoop Dogg did, Johnny, and I want to hear your opinion about this, is Snoop kind of dealt with or had like not really epiphanies, but he had like kind of a dark side to him too. So yeah, murder was the case, thinking about his death and what his death would look like, or how he would be killed, or how his life would end. And he did the soundtrack to it, did the video to it. So what is your opinion about that? So I mean, a lot of the great rappers did it. Pac did it. Big did it. A lot, even Jay-Z has done it. So what do you think the parallel is with superstar rappers and, thinking about their demise? Like, why is that? Like, why do superstar rappers think of their demise in such a strange way? Why do you think that is? Why is that?
Well, I think with writers, a lot of times there is that that retreat inside of yourself side, and you deal with a lot of things when you're putting things out to the world, if that makes sense. Because somebody like Snoop Dogg is going to give you realism, and realism to Snoop Dogg is, I might get killed in these streets because I'm out here gangbanging at the time. Yeah. That was Snoop Dogg at the time. He was bringing you realism. Like you said, he freestyled the Shiznit.
Yeah.
He freestyled that. And that tells you what kind of lifestyle he's living, because that's what he was rapping about. Yeah. In those days, you didn't rap about things that you didn't understand and you weren't part of. Yeah. And that was the great part about what he was bringing. I feel like it was almost like a Madden curse,
Yeah.
Almost, you saw so many greats talk about that, and then, something unfortunate happened to them.
Right.
But there's always going to be that side, I feel like, where you're wondering if the streets are going to take me out. So that's a necessary thing in hip hop. I once heard hip hop can't be all light and it can't be all dark either. Yeah. You got to bring them a little bit of both. So I think Snoop Dogg does a great job at that, especially with his storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I liked about his storytelling, which actually, one of the things that was kind of like his hidden talent was his storytelling, is what I would say. People don't give him enough credit for his storytelling. But I want to hear from you, Nick. What is your favorite Snoop Dogg verse? So when you think about Snoop Dogg and his lyricism, what's your favorite Snoop Dogg verse that points out? Which one do you love the most? Which one can you hear over and over and over and be like, damn, man, like that was the shit. Like that was clever. That was dope. What lyric does that for you?
Okay. I'm going to sound very commercial real quick, so bear with me. Drop it like it's hot. I love his verse and all of that. Every part was smooth. Like there was parts where he was talking about twist you, flip you, and dip you, dance to this motherfucking music we crip to.
Yeah.
Like, talking gangster talk, but it was smooth and it was a hit at the same time. Like he was talking gangster shit, but you still heard that shit on the radio. You still heard that in the club. You still heard it everywhere. Everybody knows that song just because of like all the different things that come into it. I'm a gangster. Y'all knew that. Big Boss Dog. Yeah, I had to do that. I keep a blue flag hanging on the left side. Or hanging on the right side, or the left side. I can't remember the line today, but yeah, that's the Crip side. I'm not Crip, so I don't know it. You know what I but just the way he talked gangster, but still made a hit out of it.
Yeah.
And the controversy that came behind it. You know, I saw many times where he was on the news for his gangster rap, and people were giving him turmoil for it. And his response was, well, we're just rapping what we're seeing.
Yeah.
If you don't want this, change the scenario.
Yeah.
You know, we're just putting it out on paper.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he talked about that, and he talked about, you know, what one of the things that we talked about back in the Ice Cube episode was reality rap. So they're just rapping about what they're going through, and, you know, to your point, if you don't like it, turn the station. But the man sold 11 million albums, so apparently he was doing something right. You know what I mean? So the numbers don't lie. You know what I'm saying? So the numbers don't lie. But yeah, I appreciate it, Nick. And Johnny TGV, same question. What is your favorite Snoop Dogg verse? What's your favorite Snoop Dogg verse?
Well, okay, so there's so many, and you know that's kind of a subjective question.
Okay.
You know, I'll just say this. I'll say this. Who am I? What's my name? That explains who Snoop Dogg is and what he is to become as an icon in hip hop. I mean, you can't really say no more about that track. It's just a very well put together track. If I told anybody, you know, hey, that never listened to Snoop Dogg before to listen to him, and I know they're going to get hooked, it's going to be on a song like that. I love Who Am I, What's My Name. It's very commercial once again, on an album that is one of his highest, is the highest selling album of all time for Snoop Dogg.
Yeah,
number
still
one.
Still is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is. Still is. Yes, sir. Which is kind of a hard act to follow, right? Because if you think about Snoop Dogg's, you know, musical career, I mean, when you come out the gate selling 11 million albums, it's hard to come back after that. You know, he did the Dogfather. Then he joined Master P and went to No Limit, and then, you know, he did a couple albums there, and then he started hopping around to different labels. So I mean, as a musician, you know, he never really got back that magic, you know what I mean, that he got from the first album, because he came out the gate swinging. You know, it's hard to recapture that, you know what I mean? But to your point, yeah, What's My Name is, I think it's on one of these things behind me over here, that one over there, What's My Name? So that one's on there. But my favorite is The Shiznit. That's my favorite. And my friend, and I love The Shiznit because of his flow, his freestyle, and I'm going to recite a little bit here, so I got no rap skills, but the second verse on The Shiznit is just so dope. He's like, boy, it's getting hot. Yes, indeed it is. Snoop Dogg is on the mic. I'm about the craziest biz. Marky, spark the chronic butt real quick, and let me get into some fly gangster shit. Like what the, like, yo, like, what? Like, who was thinking about this off the top of your dome? Like, I'm like, wow, man, like, it was clever, it's funky, and it's smooth, man. Like, it was so smooth. But I'm a huge fan of Snoop Dogg, and I'm so glad to have shared this moment with you guys that are also Snoop Dogg fans as well. And for those of you out there that are watching or listening to this, Snoop Dogg is, you know, the equivalent. In today's time and at his peak of his career, I don't think there would have been another superstar as big as Snoop. There would not have been. I don't think there would have been the momentum he had. And that's why I think that he is the most anticipated MC to ever come out in hip hop, because of so much momentum he had building out to it. And the record sales back that up. So there's that. But gentlemen, it's been a great time, but of course we got to start wrapping things up. All right, so what we have been doing for all of our fans that have been watching, a hooded salute for Trayvon Martin and all of the others that we have lost due to social injustice, keeping his memory alive, and everyone else. But that's how we do. And shout out fashion for season 2. And I'm going to let Johnny the Good Villain do his shout outs first. So Johnny, who are you shouting out this week, my good sir?
This week, of course, you, my man, and Nick Gibbs.
Salute,
you know,
dude.
you guys are great people. My family, of course, my girl Sarah, and my boy Chris Link. We got a lot of things bubbling right now. And, of course, my boy Antidote. Got to send a shout out to my brother, too.
Word. Shout out to Antidote, man. We got to get you on here, my dude. I got you, man. I got you. It's going to be soon, man. But, yeah, shout out, man. And once again, Johnny, get well, and much love to you and your health too, man. So I need you to be healthy, man. We got to go get this bag, all right? So I need you to be healthy, my dude. Let's go get it.
Absolutely.
Nick Mother Gibbs, man. Who are you shouting out this week, man? Who you shouting out?
You already know I'm about to shout you out and your beautiful ass family, man. You know I'm about to shout you guys
Salute,
out.
man. Salute.
Dude, arguably one of the best supporters in Kansas City over here. You guys are the truth, for real. I'm
Man,
gonna
love,
shout out
man.
Johnny the Big Billion too, man. Like so many things I could say right now, but I'll just say it like this. Bro, I'm glad we're matching the same aviators tonight. You know, we're flexing on them. Like
I didn't get that memo about the aviators, man. Y'all should have told me and shit, man. But yeah.
I think that's the new thing. I think whenever Johnny the Good Villain and I are now performing, we have to wear the aviators every time.
Hey, gotta
It's
do
a
it.
deal. It's a
Gotta
deal.
do it.
But I want to shout out to hip hop, all the artists out there who are out there really making hip hop, none of them whack rappers out there who don't got bars, don't waste my time. I need all the good rappers out there to keep the culture alive. I love you all. And, you know, people who are inspired by whatever we're doing here, you know, uplifting the game in hip hop. A shout out to you guys too, because you're taking the courage to listen. So major love to you all.
Yeah, man. Much love, man. Well, I mean, like you guys have two of the most genuine people that I've met on my journey on this podcast journey, man. So my shout outs are to you guys. Johnny TGV asked last minute, man, dropped everything. My man was making dinner for his family, man. Said, yo, Rob, I'll do it. Like, give me 15 minutes, dog. I'ma do it, man. If that ain't love, I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying? If that ain't love, I don't know what is, man. So, Johnny, shout out to you, man. Shout out to Nick Gibbs. By the time you guys see this, Nick would have performed here in Kansas City. So we're going to go out. Well, we would have gone out already. Shown love. I got his bands on today, showing mad love to Nick Gibbs. Yeah. That's my guy. And I'm telling you guys, if you've not heard of Nick Gibbs, you will soon. I guarantee you will hear from him soon because that brother is coming. Actually, I think he's already here. He just needs to expand a little bit more, I think. But that's going to come in time. That's going to come in time. You're going to hear about Nick Gibbs. And hopefully, this is what I hope for Nick. I hope that when you make it big, right? And you're going to be like, oh, man, I did some stuff early in my career, man. I was on this guy, Diggie A2 platform, man. And people are going to go back and like, oh, what was that? And, you know, they're going to go watch you on the show, man. So that's what I'm looking at, you know what I mean? Like, show brothers some love when you get big, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but I appreciate you both, man. I got three quick other shout outs real quick. One shout out going to my good friend Kelsey Johnson, my good buddy from the Army. It was her birthday this past week. She's an avid watcher every single week. So mad love, Kelsey. I love you. Happy belated birthday. I want to give a shout out to a guy named James Bush who has a podcast called The Mind of a Man. And James Bush his podcast is geared toward men, black men in particular, and just going through the strifes and thought processes of black men in general, but just really going through what's it like to be this as a man experience. And I told James, I said, yo, I love your podcast, so I'm plugging your stuff, man. So go out there, you guys, check him out. His name is James Bush. The podcast called Mind of a Man. Go and check him out. Show that brother some support, man, because he's killing the game right now. So show that man some support. And my last shout out goes to a guy that I just met last night. I just met a guy last night. His name is OG Tech the Don. So OG Tech, man, like I met him yesterday. Me and my wife got a chance to talk to him. He does a podcast twice a week. He's a record label owner. He is a producer. He's a manager, and he works a full-time job. I said, brother, when do you sleep? Like, how are you doing all this stuff? Like, do you sleep? And he was like, maybe a couple of hours, man. But my point is, when I hooked up with him, another genuine guy, and he's from Augusta, Georgia, and the man had a Falcons emblem tattooed on his body. I said, dude, we here, man. If anybody's down with the Falcons, I'm down with them because that shows loyalty, because our Falcons are trash this year, but we still riding with them, right? So shout out to OG Tech, man. Much love to you, man. And shout out to all of our fans, followers, and supporters. And next week, we are going to be talking about Nas, the second coming of Rakim, one of the best lyricists in the history of hip hop, is who we're going to be showcasing next week. And we're going to be talking about Illmatic. And I got a big announcement coming up for Illmatic next week. So you guys tune in on that, because that is probably the best 39 minutes and 12 seconds in hip hop history. And I'm going to talk about a little bit more next week. But shout out to you guys. Shout out to all of our fans, supporters, and listeners. Shout out to hip hop. Y'all be easy and keep your damn mask on. All right, 100.